What you're seeing here is not a UFO, but once again, it's one of those monstrosities I like to try out on the channel, and it has broken another world record. This is the new tank HiKE. It was just introduced and holds the record for having the most powerful flashlight in the world integrated into a smartphone. In fact, its light is so extremely powerful that it needs a fan to cool the light chamber so the phone doesn't overheat. I crossed forests in the middle of the night and got soaked in icy rivers to test this monster the way it deserves. And this new tank, built with durable metal and rubber, is capable of lighting up a range between 200 and 300 meters, which is absolutely insane. You already know that I love analyzing this kind of device, and in fact, you don't usually see them that often on other YouTube channels, but for me, they're really important because these are brands that truly dare to innovate. And here's the proof of that. Once again, with this new tank, they've achieved a new milestone in the history of smartphones. As you can see, the unboxing is exactly the same as all the tanks I've tested on this channel. You know you can find absolutely all of them here. And, well, it's always appreciated that they include the 120-watt charger above all. And here is this new 8849 tank HiKE, a monster weighing over half a kilo. You should keep that in mind. Built with metal, rubber, glass, and a pretty tough plastic. Obviously, its size, as you already know, with this type of smartphone, isn't suitable for every hand, and not for every pocket either. But whoever buys one of these monsters already knows what they're getting. Its entire design is mainly focused on making it extremely tough. In other words, indestructible. As for the ports, there are no surprises. 3.5mm audio jack, thanks for keeping it. USB Type-C and one of the microphones. On the other side, as you can see, everything is covered with metal plates and screws. Here is the unlock button with fingerprint sensor and one of the fans. And this is where the best part of this smartphone is. The second fan, the infrared sensor, and this big flashlight, the most powerful ever integrated into a smartphone. By the way, even when it's underwater, it can light up well, and even the fans keep working. It has military-grade IP69 water and dust resistance. And actually, you're seeing the SIM card tray. It's one of the biggest SIM card trays I've ever seen. It can hold 2 SIM cards, up to 4G, and a micro SD card of up to 2 terabytes. The volume buttons have a certain texture, and there are also 2 extremely customizable action buttons flush with the frame. One of them is in a striking red color, but let's get to the reason why this new tank has broken a world record.
Dial.
And here you have it. These are the flashlights that Tank normally uses. They're already quite bright, but they've added these 2 new flashlights. In total, that's 1,200 lumens. In fact, it needs fans to cool down, as I mentioned, although you can also activate this fan independently. For example, if the device gets too hot, which I actually like, to be honest. Now let's talk about its flashlight, especially the main one. The one that broke the record, as you can see, it already warns you. It gives you a warning not to shine it in your eyes because it's too powerful. And here, you're going to see all the flashlights activated. Honestly, it almost looks like a UFO, really. By the way, you're seeing that the main flashlight has 3 power levels. You can set whichever suits you best. And in all of them, by the way, the fan is activated. In fact, I went out in the middle of the night to record these shots in the forest. And you can already see the intensity of the beam, 1,200 lumens. It's absolutely amazing. This, in certain jobs like forest ranger, security guard, or camp counselor, for example, could be really useful. And not just because of its flashlight, but also because of its battery. It's an absolute beast. I'll talk to you about it later. The only thing I miss in this flashlight is the possibility of having a beam of light that spreads out. So it's not so focused. I guess we'll see this beam expansion hardware in the next version of this HiKE. But even so, look here. In complete darkness, this slug was approaching the camera. And with this amazing flashlight, you can see it incredibly well. It's getting dark, and I'm lighting the ground with a regular phone's flashlight, even if it doesn't seem like it. But what happens if this beast of a light turns on its powerful flashlight? As you're about to see compared to the one that's already on, look at what happens. The light is a beast, really strong. Even though it's not nighttime, again, it's just sunset right now. The light can reach pretty far. In fact, according to the company, it can reach up to 300 meters in, let's say, proper conditions, which is absolutely insane. Never before in history has any smartphone implemented such power in a built-in flashlight. Therefore, this tank has once again made history. And now, let's talk about the screen. It's a 6.79-inch Full HD screen, Full HD Plus, with IPS technology and up to 128 refresh rate. In addition, it comes with a plastic film already applied. The screen offers a high level of customization. However, the brightness is rather low. By the way, I recommend leaving the 120 Hz enabled by default. YouTube can play videos up to 2K, but without HDR. Here's how the multimedia would look. It's not the best screen I've tested on this channel. The glare is pretty bad. I guess because of the plastic film it has, and the viewing angles aren't very wide either. Even so, considering that it's an IPS and that it has a rather low price, you'll see it later. Probably for the niche this smartphone is aimed at, it doesn't need a higher quality screen. That said, the multimedia experience is enhanced by the two speakers it has. Not only do they sound good, but they're also very powerful, as expected, in this type of smartphone. Also, if you go to the end of the sound and vibration settings and enable this, the speakers will get enhanced. Here's a test so you can hear how they sound. Above all, the power is absolutely insane in line with this monstrous tank. Alright, let's talk about the hardware and software of this Android flashlight, which without a doubt, for anyone working night shifts, could be a great work tool and not just an Android smartphone. Alright, regarding the hardware and software, you can already see the fingerprint sensor. It's not the fastest I've tried. The 120 Hz refresh rate is definitely noticeable. But what I liked least about this phone, without a doubt, is its processor. It's a MediaTek Helio G200. It has 12 GB of LPDDR, 4X RAM, expandable with another 12 GB of virtual RAM, and it also includes 512 GB of UFS, 2.2 internal storage. On the other hand, it comes with stock Android 14. When running daily apps like Instagram, for example, it's true that there is some slowdown at times, although nothing too serious. I did like the vibration motor though, and it also includes FM radio. If we push it a little harder, for example with this Google Earth app, you can already tell that it's definitely not the fastest smartphone I've tested on this channel. The same thing happens with games, but luckily since it includes those two extremely powerful speakers, it somehow overshadows a processor that's not exactly synonymous with power. And without a doubt, this is its most critical point, and that's the cameras. By the way, it doesn't even have HDR. It has a main camera of 50 megapixels, an 8 megapixel telephoto, and a 32 megapixel selfie camera. The maximum digital zoom is 20x, and in Pro mode, it only has an exposure time of up to 0.6 seconds. But anyway, let's go to the samples. The dynamic range is quite poor, and it often overexposes the photos. Not just the macros, but also the skies, for example, making them look whitish. Honestly, I'm not going to waste much more of your time on this aspect, because I think this smartphone is not designed to take good photos. Luckily, it does have a good 64 megapixel night vision sensor, which you'll see next. Video recording with the tank, with the most powerful flashlight in the world. This is what its resolution would look like in Full HD at 30 frames per second. This is how its stabilization would be. And this is how its microphones would sound. And this is its maximum resolution, 2K at 30 frames per second. But this feature of the camera on this tank, which I did like, is the infrared. Notice that With a regular phone, you can't see anything at all. I'm in complete darkness. But with this infrared camera and also 64 megapixels, which I insist with any other camera you wouldn't see anything at all. And also, look, here, recording directly with this one using its infrared camera, the sharpness it has, how even the letters shine. This, along with the flashlight, is one of my favorite things. Its battery. That's why it's so heavy. That's why it's so thick, because it includes a 23,800 milliamp battery. That's something. Also, since it has such an extremely efficient processor, the battery can last you more than a week without any problem. It also has 120-watt fast charging by cable, and it's true that it doesn't have any battery protection mode in the software. I hope 8849 adds these battery protections through software in future updates. Even so, if what you're looking for is a phone with a battery that lasts a really long time, this monster won't disappoint you. And now, let's talk about the price. How much does this 8849 tank HiKE cost? Well, as you can see, it costs $299.99. It's probably the cheapest tank I've tested on this channel. I'll leave the link below in the video description. And in conclusion, if what you're looking for is the smartphone with the most powerful built-in flashlight in the world, here it is. I understand that it's a niche smartphone, like all the monstrous devices I test on my channel. You already know that I have several of this kind. But if you've made it to this part of the video, it's because you already know this isn't just any smartphone. Here, there's innovation, and that comes at a price, whether it's because of its weight, its size, or its poor ergonomics. And that's exactly why I think this monster deserved a video like this, filmed in rivers, in mountains, in forests, at night. If you like this kind of review that are different from the usual, subscribe and leave me a like so I can keep making this kind of content. About videos, anyway. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers and see you soon.